employer sponsorship. So some percentage of people are going to get sponsorship. GA themselves offer a no interest payment plan, which is fairly common in this space too, because it's basically, while you're in the program, it's completely collateralized debt. Like, I can keep you from graduating if you don't pay. So another percentage of your students are going to finance their degree that way. Then you have places like Climb and all these other consumer debt offering companies. But again, like, just on their website, they have, 4 options that they list. So you're going to lose a percentage there. Then you have the people paying cash up front, people putting on a credit card. So like, there's just too many avenues to finance it to confidently say that this one entity is going to be able to capture enough of the market to hit 9 figures in origination. So that's number one. But number two, as this space becomes more and more democratized, like, in the same way that people are arguing, I have a certificate from X and it's just as good as an undergraduate degree. Well, why is your $10,000 certificate better than my $3,000 certificate that I did online if we both have the same? You see what I'm saying? Like, it's becoming harder and harder to make the case for the actual in-classroom certificate program to be, to prove its value. And that's just on the coding side. So another big space that Trilogy, my former employer, works in, but that a lot of, offers a lot of these certificates is data analytics. Well, most of the people who go to the data analytics program, or a higher percentage than go to a coding program, already work in that field. So they're going to be disproportionately sponsored or disproportionately going to be able to pay for it themselves, if either in installments or upfront. So if I'm not going to use real numbers, but let's just, for the sake of illustration, let's say the median income of a coding boot camp student is $45,000 a year before they start the program. The median income, sorry.
In reality, I'm sorry, I know you mentioned not using numbers per scale, but just to get a decent understanding, I'm guessing that number should be at closer to 80, 90, right? If you're
No. No, people who are just going into, just going into the program, in a full-time or part-time coding boot camp scenario, it's a safe assumption that 7 to 8 out of 10 of these people are doing this program to improve their employment situation. That could mean job satisfaction, that could mean income, that could mean upward mobility, it could mean any number of things. The median income for these folks is the way I would think about it if I were building this out, if I were you building this out, is that the person has to make enough money to value this sort of education, but not so much that they think they can make more long-term somewhere else.
Got it.
So 80% of them have undergraduate degrees. Well, I would say a similar percentage make between 45 and 55K a year. And that obviously varies by market, but that's directionally where I would be comfortable directionally using those numbers to prove this point.
Got it. Makes sense.
So now you have a population on the coding side that's making 45 to 55. Well, on the data analytics side, I would be willing to bet that number is 75 to 95. These are people that, generally speaking, already have a pretty good grasp of what data analytics means, et cetera, et cetera. Because it's one thing to go from zero to building a website on the coding side. I mean, you and I both worked with people that, you're never going to catch up with somebody on the data analytics side in a 6-month course. There's just too much that goes into it. So you have people who are improving their situation currently. So if you were to look at a data analytics program at, let's say, Columbia, I'd be willing to bet that the average income there is in the low 6 figures, because you have people that already work in the space that are trying to get a piece of paper to say, look how good I am, to either hit the job market, get a promotion, maybe apply to business school. There's just the type of person that applies to that market or to that type of program is just going to be germanely different. So I said all that to say this: even if you were able to get reliable student count or head count numbers for an entire provider, let's say General Assembly said, hey, how many people we have coming in, you can't really say that that's a useful proxy to figure out how many people are going to need financing, because the income numbers are going to be all over the place. There just aren't enough people.
Definitely makes sense. Also, in terms of just getting an understanding of the market size, and I couldn't find a lot of these figures. I found sort of the growth rates, and we were able to extrapolate that to come to some sort of broader market size. But From my understanding, you can sort of like say yes or no, like as in if that is like the right ballpark. 2016, the market size for coding boot camp. This is not the lending. This is like the total sort of the total market size, so revenue generated from all coding boot camps, basically, would be about 200 million in 2016. 2017 it was about 265, 266. 2018 it's expected to be closer to 320 mark. Next year 350. The year after that 390. Year after that 440, something like that. Is that like in the right ballpark, or what are your thoughts there?
I mean, for one, my first thought is it's a really linear projection for someone to put together in a space that's frankly like not at all sophisticated. That's number one. But my bigger question in hearing those numbers would be like, how are they defining a boot camp? Is there like are they saying any program between 4 weeks and 24 weeks? Because if I would be hesitant to use that without knowing the definition of boot camp, because I would say 98% of people doing programs less than 4 weeks will never require or seek out financing, whereas maybe 50% for the longer, like you'd have to de-average that in some sort of way. I mean, the numbers seem like they make sense. I also think that you're going to see, I mean, you've already seen some of these boot camps go out of business, so it's hard for me to reconcile this like burgeoning demand that apparently exists when we're talking about 12%. It sounded like year-over-year growth. But people dropping, not dropping like flies, but like some pretty established players are just closing their doors. So that's a weird thing, number one. But number two, like I'm unclear as to like if we don't know the definition of boot camp, like are they including?
I think when we say boot camp, I think we're looking at so the website that I was getting some of these figures from, they consider boot camp as an average $11,000-$12,000, and sort of. It's sort of like how much you're paying, $12,000.
I can't 500,000 people going to a $12,000 a year. I mean, that seems high to me. But again, like, who's to say that a new product? Like right now, it's pretty much coding, data analytics, and that's kind of it. Like, there's some UX that you could argue is different than coding, but like, I don't know, maybe somebody figures out how to do a micro MBA that people actually think is worth a shit, and I just don't see how you get to 500,000 a year. I don't know. I mean, I could be wrong, but like that just seems incredibly high to me.
Definitely makes sense. Yeah. I mean, that's why we wanted to have this call with you and just speak with someone that really knows the industry and like understands that. Compared to someone that's just doing Google research and trying to make things on it. Sorry, go ahead.
So let me throw out one thing that I think is going to, like, that I don't know if you've already considered, but will also impact some of these numbers. The enterprise deals. So there's a big push in this space now to have enterprise deals to offer boot camps. So like GE would offer a boot camp as GE. That's going to significantly eat into those numbers, and you're obviously never going to get financing dollars from enterprise boot camps. So even if it does hit that 500K number, it's not going to be 500K in B2C, traditional space. Some percentage of that and growing is going to be enterprise level boot camps.
Definitely. Where are you getting the 500K from? Because if you take the numbers that I had said earlier and say you divide by 12,000, so for 2017 you'd get about 22,000 people that would be enrolling. 2018, 26,000, 2019, 30,000.
Oh, I'm sorry.
After that.
I'm sorry. I thought you said 440,000 in 2021.
No. So basically what I was saying is, in terms of the market size, so revenue-wise, 2021 would be 430 million revenue, but when you divide it by 12,000, you get about 36,000 individuals that would be enrolling in the program. And obviously, this is a very simple 12,000 assumption. This would at least grow at the rate of inflation, 3% at least, right? But that's, say instead of 36 days, it's like 35,000, right? Like that's not a big difference.
Yeah. So I mean, those are dollars. That is absolutely it's absolutely attainable. But again, I don't know how you're going to figure out what percentage. Like, are 25% of those people going to need financing? And if so, are they all going to go to a single provider?
So really the way we